know everyone struggles when I start talking about the different color consistencies, being tea, coffee, whole milk, cream, and butter. And I think the biggest struggle is, how do I get my color to be that value? Remember, values are our friend, and we have to master an ability and work at discovering how we can get those different values. So here we have what goes on the palette, how much water to color, and then we have how the droplet moves on the palette going across. The types of values you achieve when you're mixing these types of colors, so light tones for tea and coffee, mid-tones are coffee to whole milk, say distant soft objects, mid-dark tones are whole milk to cream, and then, cream is where you're starting to create some of your interesting, thicker, brighter, denser colors. And then butter with, I usually just have water on my brush, but not on the palette. So I pick up my color in the color wheel with the water that's on my brush, so it's really very thick and sometimes really sticky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the color consistencies as we move along and show you how the color moves on the palette. Trying to get a light tea value and water. So you can see how puddly that is and how quickly it moves and how you can see into the white background. And remember to use a big enough brush for your area. I'm using a 10 here. And I kind of sweep it towards me, and I'm always pulling the paint. I don't start at different areas and start coming across the shape. I pull towards the area I'm going. I'm going to take some of I'm going to use a thirsty brush, slightly damp, just to pull all that puddling off. Okay, sorry about the photo bombing. Okay, so now I put more color in, and I'm working on my coffee, and you can't see through the color mix as easily onto the palette. Let's see if I can straighten this out. Okay. The other thing about the tea and the coffee is the value consistency is so light that you'll still be able to see your pencil lines when you paint them. So if you're doing that, you want to make sure you use a very light pencil stroke and be aware that you may be able to see them. If you as you practice and you start using lighter valued colors, your depth to your value will be much shallower and harder to mix. So this is, now I'm moving into the whole milk. And now the value is getting deeper, and you're less likely to see your pencil strokes. And now I'm going to go into the cream. And the color moves more slowly. I don't always tend to be as concerned about the driplet moving as I am at how clearly I can see the palette, and then also testing out my colors. So I added more, add a little more. Okay, so you can see it's slowly getting deeper and darker. I think I'm just gonna, just so it doesn't puddle, it's a very damp, slightly damp brush. I picked up some of that. Okay, for the cream, I'm just swirling a moist brush into my palette, and you can see how much deeper, look at how much deeper that value is. Even if I bring the bead back, it's deeper, it's thicker. Even when I go back and forth on my palette, I really can't see the palette itself, the white. And so now what I'm getting is the deepest value, the purest color from the color well. And this would be also another opportunity for a dry brush, and or where you want your focal point. So there are the consistencies for making your tea, coffee, whole milk, cream, and butter. And I'm going to ink this in, but we're going to do the color consistency backwards then. And this will be where we go and show you wet on wet how these thickness of colors, as they get lighter, move into the wet on wet.